right? Today we'll learn asymptotic notations in detail. Formal definitions we'll learn. First one is big O notation. Big O notation, I told you it will represent the function which is having slower order of growth, right? Which is having slower order of growth. So let's see the formal definition for this. A function t of n is said to be in big O of g of n, denoted t of n belongs to big O of g of n if t of n is bounded above by some constant multiple of g of n for all large n. That is, if there exists some positive constant c and some non-negative integer n naught, such that t of n is less than or equal to c into g of n for all n greater than or equal to n naught. Where c is a constant. C is a constant and n naught, it's a non-negative integer. We cannot have negative value for this n naught. It must be positive integer. Okay, it must be positive integer. It can be 0. It can be 0. That's why they have specified it as non-negative integer. Okay, 0 is not negative integer and it is not positive integer also. Okay, but it is a non-negative integer. That's why they have specified non-negative integer. N naught can be 0. Okay, n naught value can be 0, but it cannot be negative value. C is a constant. And t of n must be having slower order of growth when compared to g of n. Then only we can say that t of n belongs to big O of g of n. Okay, t of n belongs to big O of g of n. It is bounded above by some constant multiple of g of n. It is bounded above. That means it is having slower order of growth. Bounded above means it is having slower order of growth. T of n is less than or equal to c into g of n. The value of t of n must be less than or equal to c into g of n. Then only we can say that t of n belongs to big O of g of n. Remember, t of n must be having slower order of growth. So this graph represented. So you can see that. So here we have curve for both g of n and t of n. Curve for c into g of n and t of n. So t of n up to n naught we cannot say. Up to n naught it doesn't matter. Okay, we cannot say whether it is greater than or equal to. Okay, we cannot say that. But once we cross the value of n naught, then the value of t of n must be having slower order of growth when compared to g of n. T of n must be lesser than g of n. Okay, t of n must be lesser than g of n. Then examples for big O notation. Consider this example: 100n plus 5 less than or equal to 100n plus n. For all n greater than or equal to 5, this is equal to 100n less than or equal to 101 n square. 101 n less than or equal to 101 n square. So here, as values of the constants c and n naught required by the definition, we can take 101 and 5 respectively. So you can see here on the left hand side, we have n here. On the right hand side, we have n square. So 101 n less than or equal to 101 n square. Okay, then second one is 100n plus 5 less than or equal to 100n plus 5n, which is equal to 105n. Okay, which is equal to 105n. To complete the proof of this, we can take c is equal to 105 and n naught is equal to 1. Okay, for the lesser value, here if I consider, for example, here n naught we have taken it as 1, right? If I take n naught is equal to 0, if I take n naught is equal to 0, what happens? On the left hand side, we have 100n plus 5. So 100 and this term becomes 0 because n is 0. So this term becomes 0. And we have 5 here. 5 equal to 0. We cannot say that. Right? We cannot prove that it is 5 is equal to 0. So what we can do? We can take the value of, wait for a minute. So here, if we take the value of n naught is equal to 0, so left hand side term becomes 0, that is 100 into 0, 0 plus 5. So left hand side becomes 0. And here we have, sorry, left hand side becomes 0 plus 5, which is equal to 5. 5 less than or equal to, this entire term becomes 0 because 100n we have plus 5n we have here. So n is 0, n naught is 0. So when we multiply it with 0, so 5 less than or equal to 0, we cannot say up to n naught. So we can take the n naught is equal to 1 and c is equal to 105. So it's a constant. It's a constant. Now n naught is equal to 1. So take the left hand side. Left hand side we have 100 into 1. That is 100 plus 5, 105. 105 is equal to 105. 105 is equal to 105. So here also we can see that when we have a value of n is equal to 1, when we have n is equal to 1, what happens here? 101 into 1, 101, and 101 into 1 square means again it is 101. So 100 n less than or equal to 101 n square, it is equal to. So we can prove that. So we can have the value as 1, for example. Then again, if I take the value 2, for 2 also it is true because here we'll get 2 square. 2 square means 4. This term becomes 404 and this term becomes 402. Sorry, 202, which is less than 404. I hope you're getting. So here you can take the value of C and N naught of your choice. Okay, it is of your choice. You can take any value for C and N naught, but you have to prove that that is on the left hand side, whatever the function we have, it belongs to the right hand side function, which is in the notation big O. You can take any value. You can take any value. The value on the left hand side must be lesser than or equal to the value on the right side. And when you increase the value for N naught, if initial value of N naught is equal to 1, for example, if I take any other value that is greater than this N naught value, for example, 2, 3, 5, okay, any value, it must be true for that also. Left hand side function must grow slower for all these values above the value of N naught. Okay, so that is the initial seed. I hope you're getting. So that is big O notation. And then for omega notation, usually called as big omega also. Reason is we have small, that is little o, little omega, and little theta also. That's why it is called as big omega. But for your syllabus, we have only big O, big omega, big theta, and little o notation. Okay, these 4 notations we have. Remaining 2, that is little omega and little theta notation, it is not there for your syllabus. Okay, let us discuss this big omega notation. So definition, formal definition for big omega notation: a function T of n is said to be in omega of g of n, denoted T of n belongs to omega of g of n if T of n is bounded below by some positive constant multiple of g of n for all large n, that is if there exists some positive constant c and some non-negative integer n naught, such that T of n is greater than or equal to c into g of n for all n greater than or equal to n naught. So here you can notice, so T of n must be having larger order of growth than g of n. T of n must have the order growth must be greater than g of n. Okay, any function which you have taken for T of n, that must be having larger order of growth than g of n. That's why it is the symbol greater than or equal to. Okay, and here T of n is bounded below by some positive constant, means it is having larger order of growth. Okay, remember it is having larger order of growth, and C and N naught are the constant, that is C is constant value and N naught is non-negative integer. So for example, consider this n cube is greater than or equal to n square, right? For n naught, for all n greater than or equal to 0, here n naught value is 0. Okay, n naught value is 0. When n naught value is 0, 0 greater than or equal to 0, it is same. So it is equal to 0 equal to 0. When n naught is equal to n value is 1. 1 cube is 1. 1 square is also 1. 1 greater than or equal to 1. 1 equal to 1. So condition is true for that also. And then when n is equal to 2, 2 cube it is 8. 8 is greater than 2 square, 4. Right? 8 is greater than 4. So when we increase the value of n, that is above the value of n naught. Okay, it must be above the value of n naught. Initial state must be given, and it is equal to n naught or more than n naught. For all these values, this condition must be true. That is, T of n must be greater than or equal to C into G of n. So this is the example for that. N cube is greater than or equal to n square. That is for all the value of n greater than or equal to 0. Here n naught value is 0. So we can select C is equal to 1 and N naught is equal to 0. If we select C is equal to 0, on the right hand side, every value, on the left hand side, every value becomes, right hand side, every value becomes 0. So we cannot take C value as 0. So some positive constant we have to take. So here, consider this graph. You can see that up to n naught it doesn't matter. Okay, up to n naught it doesn't matter. Up to n naught it doesn't matter. Once we have the value above n naught, so T of n is having larger order of growth than C into G of n. Okay. And theta notation. So formal definition for the theta notation, a function T of n is said to be in theta of G of n, denoted T of n belongs to theta of G of n if T of n is bounded both above and below by some positive constant multiples of G of n for all large n, that is if there exists some positive constants C1 and C2 and some non-negative integer n naught such that T of n is greater than or equal to C2 into G of n and T of n must be less than or equal to C1 into G of n for all n greater than or equal to n naught. Okay, so first value whatever we have, T of n must be greater than or equal to C2 into G of n. Okay, T of n must be greater than or equal to C2 into G of n. That means it is in omega notation. Right? It is in omega notation. T of n is less than or equal to C1 into G of n. This means this is in big O notation. Okay, this is in big O notation. Theta notation includes both. Okay, usually in informal definition, we say that it is equal to. T of n is having equal order of growth when compared to G of n. Okay, it is both bounded above and below by some positive constant. So usually it is called as equal to. Okay, usually it is called as equal to. I hope you are getting. So T of n must be greater than or equal to C2 into G of n, and it must be less than or equal to C1 into G of n for all the value of n greater than or equal to n naught. Okay, up to n naught doesn't matter. You can notice. To n naught it doesn't matter, that is up to this value it doesn't matter, but once it crosses the value of n naught, we have T of n in between C1 into G of n. C1 into G of n, it is having larger order of growth, and C2 into G of n, it is having Lower order of growth. Okay. So T of n, we can say that it must be equal to G of n. The order of growth of T of n must be equal to T of n. Then we can say that it is in theta notation. So consider, for example, half n into n minus 1 belongs to theta of n square. First, we have to prove the right inequality, the upper bound. Okay, that is half n into n minus 1, half n into n minus 1, which is equal to, if I multiply half n with n minus 1, I'll get half n square, half n into n, half n square, minus half n into 1, half n. It is less than or equal to half n square for all n greater than or equal to 0. So we can say that half n square minus half n, because whatever might be the value of n now, okay, whatever might be the value of n now, so it is n naught is 0. We have considered n naught is equal to 0 here. If n naught is equal to 0, both the values, that is on the left hand side, on the right hand side, both the values becomes 0, right? If n is equal to 1, if n is equal to 1, half minus half, it becomes 0, which is less than half again, which is less than half again. I hope you're getting. Half n square we have, so half into 1 square, so half, minus half into 1, half minus half, it is equal to 0. 1 by 2 minus 1 by 2 will get, which is equal to 0. 0 less than or equal to, on the right hand side we have, that is we have half, that is 1 by 2. So on the left hand side we have 0. 0 is less than 1 by 2. If it is 2, for example, if it is 2, for example, 1 by 2 into 4, n square we have, okay, 1 by 2 into 4, which is equal to 2, which is equal to 2, minus 1 by 2 into 2, sorry, 1 by 2 into 2, which is equal to 1. So 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 2 on the right hand side. Okay, that is 1 by 2 into 4. 1 by 2 into 4, which is equal to 2. Okay, so here 2 minus 1 on the left side, that is 1. 1 less than or equal to 2. Again, condition is true. So we have proved on the upper bound. Upper bound. This is in big O notation. Okay, this is in big O notation. Half n square minus half n less than or equal to half n square. So it is in big O notation. Now we have to prove the left inequality, that is the lower bound. Lower bound means it is having higher order of growth. Okay, half n into n minus 1, which is equal to half n square minus half n, which is greater than or equal to half n square, minus, you include one more term with this, half n into half n, okay, which is equal to 1 by 4 n square. Okay, 1 by 4 n square, and you can see the value of n naught here, it is 2. Okay, n greater than or equal to 2. At least the value of n naught must be 2 for having the right hand side, so on the left hand side more. Okay, so left hand side must be greater than right hand side. Left hand side must be, that is half n into n minus 1 must be greater than 1 by 4 n square. Okay, for that value must be at least 2. Okay, if it is 1, what happens? On the left hand side it becomes half, and on the right hand side it becomes half n square. Half n square minus half n will get, half n square minus half n will get, when n is equal to 1, when n is equal to 1, what happens? Half minus half, it is 0. 0 cannot be greater than 1 by 4. 0 cannot be greater than 1 by 4. That's why at least value of n naught, n must be at least the value 2. Okay, if the value is 2, if the value is 2, what happens? Here we have half n square, so 1 by 2 into 4, which is equal to 2, minus 1 by 2 into 2, which is equal to 1. So 2 minus 1, it is 1. Okay, 2 minus 1, which is 1. And here 1 by 4 into 2 square, 1 by 4 into 4. 4 and 4 get cancelled. So here also on the right hand side we have 1. On the right hand side, we have 1. 1 equal to 1. So it is inequality. We can prove. Why it is called as inequality? Because we don't have equal to symbol. Here we have greater than or equal to symbol or less than or equal to symbol. That's why it is called as inequality. Okay. I hope you understood the concept. So it must, with the value of some constant value of C1 and C2 and initial value N0, we must be able to prove it is the function T of N is both in big O and omega notation. Then only we can say that T of N belongs to theta of G of N. Okay. Hence we can select C2 is equal to 1 by 4. C1 is equal to 1 by 2. N0 is equal to 2. See, for the upper bound we have taken N0 is equal to 0. For the lower bound we have taken N0 is equal to 2. But N0 is equal to 0, we cannot prove the second inequality. That's why we have to take N0 must be equal to 2. Okay. So C2 is equal to 1 by 4 and C1 is equal to 1 by 2 and N0 is equal to 2. So let us discuss this theorem. If T1 of N belongs to big O of G1 of N and T2 of N belongs to big O of G2 of N, then prove that T1 of N plus T2 of N belongs to big O of maximum of G1 of N, G2 of N. Okay, this theorem is very important. Okay, proof is, as we know that when we have the simple real numbers, any real numbers or any integer value you take, okay, so here you take some integer value a1, b1, a2 and b2, where a1 is less than or equal to b1 or a2 is less than or equal to b2. Okay, a1 and a2 are lesser than b1 and b2 respectively. Okay, so here I can say that a1 plus a2 is less than or equal to 2 into maximum of b1 plus b1 or b2. Okay, so for example, if I take the value of a1 as 1 and b1 as 2. Okay, a1 must be less than or equal to b1. So a1 is 1 and b1 is 2 you consider. And then for a2 I'll consider 3 and for b2 I'll consider 4. Okay, for b2 I'll consider 4. Here a1 plus a2 is 1 plus 4. Okay, it is lesser than or equal to 2 into maximum of b1 comma b2. b1 is 2 and b2 is 4. In 2 and 4 maximum value is 4, right? Maximum value is 4. So 2 into 4 it is 8. On the left hand side we are getting 5 less than 8. So it is proved, right? So same concept we are using here also. Okay, I hope you understood the concept. You take any four arbitrary real numbers a1, a2, a1, b1, a2 and b2. a1 must be less than or equal to b1 and a2 must be less than or equal to b2. Then a1 plus a2 is less than or equal to 2 into maximum of b1 or b2. Okay, since T1 of N belongs to big O of G1 of N, there exists some positive constant C1 and some non-negative integer N1 such that we know what is big O notation, right? So we can write T1 of N is less than or equal to C1 into G1 of N for all N greater than or equal to N0. This N1 is the seed here, base seed here. Okay, similarly, since T2 of N belongs to big O of G2 of N, we can say that T2 of N is less than or equal to C2 into G2 of N for all N greater than or equal to N2. Okay, so here let us denote C3. We take some value C3, which we are going to consider maximum of C1 or C2. If C1 is maximum, then C1 is assigned to C3. If C2 is maximum, then C2 is assigned to C3. And consider n which is greater than or equal to maximum of n1 and n2, n1 or n2. So if n1 is maximum, n1 will be assigned to n. If n2 is maximum, n2 will be assigned to n. So that we can use both inequalities. Adding the two inequalities above yields the following. When we add these two inequalities, T1 of n plus T2 of n less than or equal to C1 into G1 of n plus C2 into G2 of n. Okay, which is less than or equal to C3 into, in place of C1. In place of C1, I'm using C3. In place of C2 also, I'm using C3 because C3 we have considered maximum value of C1 or C2. Okay, C3 into G1 of n plus C3 into G2 of n. Take C3 common, which is outside. Take that value outside. So we have left with C3 into G1 of n plus G2 of n. Okay, which is less than or equal to C3 into 2 into maximum of G1 of n comma G2 of n. Again here we have to take 2 into maximum of whichever is maximum, whether G1 of n is maximum or G2 of n is maximum, you consider any one and multiply it with 2. Okay, so T1 of n plus T2 of n will be lesser than or equal to C3 into 2 into maximum of G1 of n comma G2 of n. I have shown this with the example of integers. Okay, with the example of integers, same thing works for this also. Okay, so hence T1 of n plus T2 of n belongs to maximum of G1 of n comma G2 of n with the constant C and n naught required by Big O definition being 2C3 is equal to 2 into maximum of C1 comma C2 and maximum of n1 comma n2. This is for the initial seed respectively. That will be n naught. Okay, so T1 of n belongs to Big O of G1 of n. T2 of n belongs to Big O of G2 of n. Then T1 of n plus T2 of n belongs to Big O of maximum of G1 of n comma G2 of n. Okay, I hope you understood the concept. Remaining we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me.